Okay. Now, let me see if I can get Jeremy here. Let's see. Okay, Jeremy, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Let's try this again.
Yeah, I went out. I said maybe it's me, so I went out and restarted.
Yeah, I saw you because I was like, yeah. But yes,
Okay.
to your point, there's a lot in the book. Like it's all thriller, no filler, just hammer, hammer, hammer because it's designed. Read this section. Now go reflect on it. That's why there's things to do
Yeah.
every single step. Hmm.
Yeah, I love the way you did that. And the other point I wanted to make was I liked it so because I read it. I read on my Kindle, and I know I'm not the intended audience, but I really enjoyed it. And I'm not going to give too much away, but I ordered two paperbacks right before we came on for my
Oh wow.
sons. Yeah, for
Well,
two
let
of
me
them.
know how the paperback looks because it formatted. They sent me a draft copy. I hated it, so I like repaginated and did everything. So if
Hmm.
it still looks like butt, just let me know because I'll fix it.
Okay, okay.
But yeah,
Yeah,
no,
because
I'm
I just
excited. That's awesome.
yeah, I feel like this is something that a lot of men need.
Mhm.
But we're going to jump right into it. Now, I'm going to ask these first. It's two questions, but I'm going to put them into one because I think, and I might be wrong, but I think they kind of go together. So, of course, I want to know, like I ask everybody, what's the inspiration for the book?
Mhm.
And tell me more about your background and what makes you qualified, I guess I'll say, other than living. Um, that's a qualification in itself.
It is. It is really
Um,
hard to write a book when you're dead.
I know, but I'm just saying the things you go through.
That's right.
Um, like if somebody would say, well, what makes you an expert?
Hmm.
Because reading the book, to me, you're an expert at this.
Yeah.
Because
Thank
I'm
you.
assuming the Jeremy was you.
Yeah, the Jeremy was me, and the Jason was basically four different clients, and I
Oh, okay.
took parts of their stories and wove them together into a narrative because different dads have different crap going on. I call them situations, right? Because you're in the shit.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then you turn that into fertilizer if you work through it and you can make new growth happen, but you got to work through it. You can't just let it sit there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
so and so yeah, so the first question, what was the first question? Because the second one was what's my qualifications. What was the first one?
the inspiration.
Yeah. So what drove this is the statistics on divorced dad suicide are basically horrific. Anywhere between 3 and 9 times more likely to kill themselves than divorced moms.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
Divorced men, their risk, like their life is like 250% more likely to die from every cause compared to married men. Um, there's a whole lot of really negative stuff around divorce and how that impacts dads. Because for a lot of dads, once they get married and have kids, their identity shifts, protector, provider, like there's a responsibility there. There's my legacy is in these kids. And then for a divorce to happen and you get cut off to legacy, sometimes kids get weaponized against them. But for a lot of guys, they don't really know who they are anymore because I'm not dad, I'm not husband, I've been rejected by the people I thought knew me the most and were the closest to me. And if they don't want to be with me, maybe I shouldn't even be here. And it can get to a very, very dark place very, very fast. And women are a lot more proactive about their mental capacity, about their emotional health, about being they're proactive on wider network, more people to talk to. They work through issues, and for a lot of guys, it's just head down and grind. And you burn the candle on both ends in the middle. There's nothing left. And then you know, if nobody has to deal with me ever again, maybe that's the kindest thing I can do. And once a guy gets to that place, ending his life seems like a kindness to everyone else. And so the point of the silent throne, how did this dad take an emotionally empty house and turn it back into a thriving kingdom? Right? How did he turn it back into a thriving home where everyone is engaging again? Because he had
Mhm.
been so solid outside the home.
Mhm.
And what it takes to succeed in business is not what it takes to succeed with a family or to succeed as a partner or to succeed as a parent. And not that it's wrong, but how do we translate that stuff from one context to another? Because I don't do fault, blame, guilt, shame. I do ownership.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah. I
yeah,
I saw that. I have so
yeah,
many, but I'm gonna get to that later if I can figure out how to do it. Because I have like, okay, I have my laptop right here for questions. I got my iPad right here with the book. Oh, here it is. Because I marked and highlighted so much in this book. Um,
good.
but
That's the
back to
goal.
what you were saying, and that's true because there was a guy who I hadn't seen in years. We went to school together. He was a couple of years older than me, and from what I understand, I think he had been married when he was young, and then he reconnected like with somebody he used to date when we were in school. They got married, um, and I think he was going through a divorce, and I heard he committed suicide. And this guy was in school. I mean, this guy was like the best looking guy in school. Matter of fact, I think he got that back then. You know how they used to do the best
Yeah,
looking, the best,
yeah,
all of that,
yeah, yeah.
most likely to succeed.
Senior superlatives.
And I was just like, wow, because, of course, by the time it happened, he was maybe early 50s or he had just turned 50.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, he had taken his life, and I was like, oh, that's so sad, what I mean, because what else can you say? And
Right.
somebody said, yeah, he was going through a divorce. And what you just said, it makes a lot of sense. And then on the
Mhm.
other side of that, I know when I got divorced and my kids were grown, I went through that kind of, okay, well, who am I?
Yeah.
Because I've spent all of my adult life
Hmm.
being a wife and a mother. So
Right.
I had to reintroduce myself to Christina.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was hard. I mean, I wrote a book, but it was, it's just called Healing and Peace, and I kind of went into what I went through because it was a
Hmm.
healing, but there was there were some really dark days.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, well,
okay.
that happens with couples when the kids graduate like high school and go on to college, and their
Mhm.
lives have been so siloed, and she's the caregiver and the homemaker and da 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 da, da, and he's out in the world da da da, and then the kids are gone, and because they put the kids in the middle, when the kids aren't there anymore, they're like, "Who are you? Do I like you? Do I even know you?" And a lot of times for the wives, there's the resentment of where were you because you were working and it was so nice you disappeared, and so there's a lot of resentment, and I don't have to deal with you. I don't have to stay with you.
Yeah.
And so there is a fracturing. One of the concepts I talk about is power partnership instead of power couple,
Yeah.
because power couples tend to tear themselves apart when you have two dueling providers, and look how hard I'm sacrificing and look what I'm giving up and look what I'm making
Yeah.
happen. But when they're both doing that, it fractures the connections versus appreciating each other. And
Yeah.
so in a power partnership, like if we fill each other to overflowing, why would we ever stop?
That's true.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, when I started the book, I wasn't sure if his wife was deceased because
Hmm.
it almost gave that, so I was like, oh,
Like
okay,
she's a ghost. Yeah.
but it was actually the relationship that had died.
Yeah. 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 That makes me really happy because that's how I wrote it. Was I wanted it to be like, wait, is this like the Sixth Sense? And it's like, oh, I see dead people, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
like I wanted that to have that sensation of like, wait a minute.
yeah, because the
So that makes
first,
me really happy.
when you open it up and you start reading it, and the house is silent, I was like, oh, this is, he's got to deal with this grief.
Mm-hmm.
And then she pops up, and since I've been married, just all the signs were there. It was like, oh, she's not deceased, but that relationship is on its last leg.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of guys
Because
think silence is peace, and it's not. Like, she's done grieving, she's done fighting. She's just marking time till she gets
that
out.
that was actually not that I don't want you to psychoanalyze me, but that was actually the thing in my marriage. It was like before the actual divorce, there was that silence because it was just like I was just tired.
Yeah.
I was tired of expressing myself, tired of trying to get
Hey,
him to
listen. So,
understand my
hmm,
side.
yeah.
And so that's why when she showed up, I knew the signs. I said, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it
Yeah.
does, because the way society, for me, the way I look at it is the way society is built. We spend so much time working,
Mhm.
trying to do this, do that, and it's hard. I mean, we look at it before we read your book and say, well, they're lucky because they get one parent that gets to stay at home.
Yeah.
But you showed that other side of it where it didn't seem so lucky or thrilling.
Yeah. Well, like the moments where, because I have a daughter who's 11 and a half, and it's and I've had clients that are like, they feel like they're losing their kids. And it's like you're fighting and screaming to try and get that time with them. But as a king building a kingdom, you feel pulled in two directions because the world needs blah, blah, blah to build this financial engine to have stability and safety. But then that requires a lot of times time and energy outside the home. And then you're missing all these connection moments. And so it's like, what is the point of building this financial engine if you lose the people that matter most, the people you're building it for?
Hmm.
Right? And
Yeah.
that's really one of the wake up calls I want this book to kind of point the finger at, because so many guys are like, yeah, no, things are whatever, but I'm busy, work. I'm like, you got 3 years. By the time usually a guy comes across my material, you got 3 years because you're noticing the problems and the fractures and the cracks. If
Hmm.
you don't take action, the momentum is going to run you over. And she's only going to grieve about 2 years. And then that
That
third
is,
year, she's plotting her escape.
that is, man, that was my life.
Yeah,
How'd
that's
you
a
know?
lot of people's lives, unfortunately. And it's like, it does, like when I have a guy asking questions about like marriage stuff, I'm like, okay, does she get mad at you? Oh yeah, all the time. Okay, cool. Does she tell you about it? Oh yeah, I never hear the end of it. Good, because she gets mad, she cares, and she tells you she wants you on her team. She doesn't know how to get it anymore. So she's provoking reactions to like, can I still piss you off? Do you still matter? Do I still matter? When that stops and she just goes silent and whatever, it's fine, and she's just apathetic, that is really, you're on fumes, and she's
Yeah.
flying.
And I've told my sons that it's like, you know, usually a woman is finished with the relationship while still in it.
Yeah, yeah,
We grieve while we're in it. And we
yeah,
know, it's like you said, that last year, it's okay. Now I'm planning my escape
yep, yep,
because I've been, kind of finished with the relationship for a little while. And
yeah,
so the grieving process for us, you're right, after divorce, it might seem shorter and it might seem like we're still doing things and connecting. It's because we grieved while we were in it.
yeah.
But back to the book, what I wanted to ask was with Jason. Okay, so Jason comes across this email.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you? I mean, because I was kind of wondering, like, well, how did Jeremy know to send him the email?
Yeah, it's just magical device for the book.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
because but I have like I'll have clients that will send messages to friends of theirs that are struggling and be like, "Hey, I got a guy you need to talk to. I don't know what's going on with you, but I know something, and I
Yeah.
have someone for you to talk to.
Hmm.
Just take time, give him an hour, see what shakes loose. I think you'll find some really good insight."
Yeah,
Um,
because that was one thing. Okay, so that was
yeah,
just the book magic, but it worked.
yeah, it's a magical device.
It worked because when he, I mean, I was really impressed with Jason, even though you say he's 4. I mean, I guess it was because Jason was so overloaded
Hmm.
that to talk to someone, kind of like what you and I are doing, except for on Zoom, who understood, just took a weight off his shoulders
Yes,
almost immediately.
yes.
And I enjoyed that part, and I did enjoy where um, the first step, and I did have this question, that inner child.
Hmm.
Do you find, since you've had multiple clients you've helped, that is that always the first step?
Damn near always, yes. Because the first step I do, it's called the integration protocol, and anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt. We take those five emotions out because if you're in the pit and you're struggling, and the answer to any disempowerment is just get pissed off or get angry or get indignant or get justified, then we can't make progress. So we got to be able to be raw and real and open and honest, right? Ruh-roh. We got to get to the source.
Hmm.
And so one of the first things I do is usually in the first or second session, we will go and clean that stuff out simply because it gets us out of that reaction and we can actually see the patterns and take ownership. Because as long as we're pointing the fingers and pointing blame, like one of the big questions, do you want to be right or do you want to get results? You want
Yeah,
results?
in the
Cool.
book.
Yeah, explain to me how what you're doing is getting you your results. Well, it's not. Okay, cool. Thank you. Good honesty. So when
Yeah,
would now be a good time to stop that shit and do something else?
yeah.
Right?
Now, when each for the people out there, because and I will leave this live on my page, and it
Hmm.
does from the previous ones, it still gets traction
Yeah.
because I would like so many men to get this book, really.
Yeah.
Um,
I was, it would make a fantastic Father's Day gift. It makes a fantastic birthday gift, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, solstice, Yule, Id, whatever you got.
yeah, because
This is
like
a
I
great
said,
gift to get for husbands and
I
boyfriends
ordered two
and
for
sons.
my sons. They're adults, and I thought about it. I'm like, well, they're adults now, so I can't do the whole read the book and then I want a book report,
Right.
by Saturday. But I'm like, even if they don't read it right off, they'll have it there because the
Yeah.
one thing in my family that we all know, we don't throw away books.
Nice.
Throw
Yeah.
away anything else, but we do not throw away books.
Yeah.
And
Well,
in this book, what I really like is at the end of each chapter, you have these reflection questions.
mhm.
And the one where we're talking about the inner child, one of the questions that I highlighted, I actually highlighted too. But the first one, what vow did you make as a boy that you're still living by today?
Oh,
Now, with most men, is that common?
yeah. Yeah. They get embarrassed, they get shamed, they get hurt, and never again. And they close parts of themselves off. I will never be laughed at. I will never be made fun of. I will never be made to feel small. And
I
they build
agree.
armor and they build protection so that they never feel that again. And unfortunately, it serves at a young age for protection, but it becomes a trap later and it limits their ability to connect as a husband and a father, as a parent, as a leader, as a king. It gets in the way.
Yeah. I mean, reading this, I could really see that. And I know, just like we were talking a little bit earlier when you were talking about men and the effects of divorce on men, as I have matured, I have found, because when women, I can't speak for all women, but me and most of the friends I knew growing up, we saw boys as these mystical creatures, kind of, because we're worried about, does he like me? Why hasn't he called me? And they just always seemed to be like they were just able to move on with their lives and keep doing what they're doing. And we're sitting there looking at them as if they're, these mystical creatures that. And I remember I have one daughter. I mean, she was a teenager, and it was some boy. Can't remember now. She probably doesn't either. And I told her, I said, you have brothers, and they aggravate you with things they do.
Yup.
This boy you like, he's just like your brother. He's sitting there right now playing that game.
Yep.
And
Yup.
that's why it seems like it's so easy
Yeah.
for him to, whatever it was. I can't remember if it was a breakup or what.
Yeah, just not care or not let it like just they're so insensitive. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, but as I've gotten older, I've realized that men don't handle rejection well.
No. No. It's personal. Like it's not that they're rejecting the opportunity to get to know me. They're rejecting me. And it's like, oh, and now you're an enemy, you're anathema. I have to destroy you in some way, shape, or form. And it's like,
Yeah.
dude, grow a set. Like,
Or for some, I think, like the single ones or whatever, it's like, I'm not going to even try.
correct. That's a masculine. So testosterone is you utilize it and then it has to be rebuilt, right? Like
Mhm.
the masculine brain, the left brain gets bored. The right brain, the feminine brain never gets bored, right? If you ever walk into a room and the furniture is yelling at you and the pillows are yelling at you because they're not perfectly aligned,
Mhm.
that's more of a right brain feminine thing. Left brain guys, we delete that. We don't even care. We don't even notice because we only have so much energy. So I'm bored. What that means is, of the things that I am aware of that are available to me, none of them are worthy of my full time attention and energy. And so now I'm bored,
Yeah.
right? Because we know testosterone is limited. Our energy is limited. It gets burned up and we have to sleep. We have to recharge. So we're not going to invest our time, our energy. We're not going to invest our very being in something if we
Mhm.
don't know what the payout's going to be, or we don't know what the reward is, or we don't know what the result is. And so when it comes to dating and relationships, a lot of guys are scared shitless and they don't want to run the risk because I don't want to waste whatever. And it's like, dude, all you're doing is just making an opportunity available. And if they choose, awesome. And if they choose not to, also awesome, because you chose not to be in my life. Sweet. Thanks for I'm
Yeah.
not going to waste more time. See ya. Because if I'm enjoying myself in the process, then it's all good. It's all education. It's all expansion of capacity.
Mhm.
It's all capability. It's all wonderful. But when we make it where, well, no, I have to meet my. I had a in my kung fu school. I had a 13-year-old that was telling me how he wanted to like find his soulmate, and I smacked him in the back of the head and said, "And do what? You're 13. You're going to live in your parents' basement. You have no job. You haven't finished school. What is your purpose? Why are you here? What are you here to offer the world? Why do you exist? You don't even know who you are and you get mad at your mom asking you to like pick up your clothes. You're gonna get married at 13? Hold on. Like get it, get your sequence right. Don't waste your time. Figure out who you
Yeah.
are before you bring anybody else in.
I can't imagine. I'm happy that I guess I'm gonna tell on myself a little bit my age, but I'm happy that my kids, well, first of all, like my daughter was that first splurge of social media when
Mm-hmm.
it was just meant for college students.
Yeah.
My boys, thankfully, they didn't seem to get into it as much, and
Mm-hmm.
they still don't, which is a good thing because I can't imagine having teenagers 13, 14, and if they're submerged in social media, that's just like that's too much, you know. I think that's where they get a lot of this from, soulmates. And when I was 13, let me see if I can remember back that far. I know I liked boys, but
That
I
was like 2 weeks
definitely
ago.
wasn't thinking about a soulmate. You
Right.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
I just wanted, you know, my best friend said she liked somebody, so I had to look around and see who I liked so we could be in common and have something to talk about because that's all she wanted to talk about,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And so I that's amazing. But yeah, I have noticed that, and I'm sure it was like that even when I was younger. But it's amazing to see now that I'm older because when I got divorced, silly me, you know, I'm thinking, well, dating shouldn't be that hard because, you know, we've all been through relationships. We should know what we want. You know, some people are divorced, some people are
Right.
widowed. Um, and it should just be easy. It shouldn't be, you know, I don't have to worry about playing games. And I got out here
Mm,
and I'm
yeah.
like, okay. So, and that's when I started noticing. And actually, it was one of my best friends. She told me, she said, you know, men have a hard time with resentment. And I
Mhm.
always thought, I mean, rejection, not resentment. They resent rejection. But I'm like, but it's not rejection. It's just if you say, hey, do you want to go out this weekend? And I tell you, I already have plans. That's, in my eyes, that's not a rejection.
Right.
It's more like a redirection. Plan another day, you
Right, right, right.
know?
You got to tell him that. I would love to go out with you. I got plans this day, but I'm available this day and this day.
And I've
Right?
done that. I've done
It's
that. But
leaving the door open. Yeah.
it's been like, well, you know, I don't know. I'm not going
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
too.
No, it's all good because it's if he's not willing to put in the time and like, all right, let's play tennis. I'm gonna knock the ball back to you. What are you gonna do with it? And you're gonna knock it back to me. All right, let's go. And
Exactly.
if not, I like thank you for self-selecting out. It's fine.
And that was the point, especially after I went through my little identity crisis and had to reintroduce myself to myself. I was kind of proud of myself because I'm like, you know, and I tell my kids this all the time. It's like, you know, if somebody doesn't talk to you, you're not going to die. You know, you're not going to
No,
stop breathing.
no,
Just stop talking and you'll meet somebody else.
yeah,
Um, and it's and I've been like that. It's like, well, okay, if they're getting angry because I previously had plans, maybe this is somebody I don't want to deal with.
exactly. If they're living in such scarcity, I mean that's fine for them, and I guess it works. But that's not something I'm interested in, and that's fine.
Yeah, and it's okay. And if they're not interested in me, it's okay. It's not like
Yeah.
this huge arrow to my soul. You know,
Right.
it's just I'll tell anybody. I already know I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
That's
So
right. That's right. Some people don't like it. They like coffee. Some people make their coffee with their coffee. They double brew
I do that.
it. Yeah, somebody posted online about like hey, if you don't drink 5 pots of coffee or 5 cups of coffee a day, are you even coffeeing? And then I wrote back and I was like, if you're not making coffee, if you're not using coffee to make your coffee, are you even coffeeing?
Right, I do. Because I'll get, you know, I'll have my first cup, and then when it gets like maybe three quarters down, I'm like, it's time to make another cup on top of this. I got to make my coffee on top of my coffee.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. Some people cause heart palpitations and they vibrate, and that's okay too.
Yeah. But this book has so much. One of my favorite quotes is okay when you start when Jason, and I was getting a little mixed up. I'm terrible with names.
Yeah, there's like 3 guys.
Yes, but you know, it was Jason and Jeremy. And in the
Hmm.
beginning, I was like, well, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, yeah. Jason is the one with the problem. Jeremy is the one helping him.
Hmm.
But that mirror exercise.
Oh yeah.
That was deep. And guys, you're going to have to read the book. But I'm going to give you a quote from it about the mirror.
Mm.
And it says, guilt, Jason, is like a dusty mirror hanging in a dimly lit room.
Mhm.
You walk past it every day, sensing that something isn't quite right, a vague unease, but you never truly stop to look at your reflection.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. But that whole dusty mirror hanging in a dimly lit room, and guilt will do that to you.
Yeah. 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 It's guilt limits us, and until it's dealt with, it doesn't go away. And there's the I'm too much, and there's the I'm not enough. There's two flavors of it, but
Mm-hmm.
they're both just me being me is wrong. And as long as somebody is carrying that in their unconscious or they're carrying that deep in their belief system,
Mm-hmm.
there's a landmine waiting to explode because anytime anybody doesn't validate you the exact way you want when you need it, like all of a sudden, everything unresolved, all the guilt shows up, all the shame shows up. And it's just like, oh, see, that I really am worthless. I really am. And it's like, no, no,
Mm-hmm.
none of that is true.
Mm-hmm.
That,
And
that's why
women
we
go
got to
through
deal with
that
it.
too, because
Yeah,
part of my rediscovering me and going through my whole healing journey, which I'm still in because there's so many different parts to it.
yeah, yeah,
Because that's why I tell people, it's like, no, you're never really fully healed because each year, each 3 years, you're faced with different things as you grow, and you're
yeah.
I'm just a firm believer in if I live to be 100 and have my right mind, I should still be learning things.
Yes,
I should
agreed.
still be learning things. And that guilt will get you because, and you're right, it's just all wrapped up. It's wrapped up into your self esteem and I had to go through little exercises and give myself affirmations every day,
Yeah.
and really the biggest part of my healing process, which was the biggest hurdle, which is similar to this, was learning how to forgive myself.
Mm, yeah.
And I really learned that it's like, you have people, whether they're friends, family, ex-husbands, lovers, whatever, that hurt you and you forgive them. But then when it came to me, I'm holding on forever. I'm not,
Yep.
oh gosh, as
Yep.
soon as I hit that rock, then everything from, just like with Jason, everything from back when I was 15 comes rolling back. And it's like,
Yeah.
and that was a long part of my healing, was learning how to forgive myself and just to learn to live without regrets, because we can't go back into the past. All
Hmm.
we can do is forgive ourselves and learn not to make the same mistakes.
Exactly. Make new and interesting ones.
Exactly, yeah, because we're definitely going to do that.
Yeah.
um it's just, this book has so much. um I've got all these things highlighted. I love the mirror. And Jason was working it. And there was a part in there where there were a couple of parts. One where he was interacting with his wife after he had done a lot of the exercises, the looking in the mirror, and she was shocked.
Hmm.
But the one that really almost brought me to tears was with his son. And the son spilled something.
Hmm.
And he immediately knew. The first thing that came to his mind, of course, was his normal
Yep.
reaction.
Yep.
But he was able to take that breath
Mm.
and say, okay, I'm not doing it like this anymore.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I mean, I've always felt like a lot of people don't want to do the self work because change is uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and you can't change from a comfortable place.
Usually no. Like it's like changing a diaper, right? We don't ask for change when we're comfortable. We ask for change when it's like I hate how I'm living. I hate the experience, right? There's a great quote from Anais Nin, and it's like what makes the flower bloom is because the pain to stay in the bud is too strong. And that's what makes us break
Mm,
open, right? And it's an explosion. It's dynamic and it's violent sometimes, and it's expansion. Yeah, that's not comfortable. Like anyone who says change is comfortable, I'm like, cool. Watch a baby cut teeth and tell me that's comfortable.
yeah. It's like with this, there was one part in there where it was about change, but it was also about being present.
Hmm.
This was one of my quotes I like. And this is you talking to Jason. Presence is a singular focus, Jason. It demands your undivided attention. Hold on, gotta go to the next page. When you are with your family, be fully with them.
Hmm.
And then the great part about this book, you don't give these quotes and just leave it there, even though they make you think.
Hmm.
You give, because actually, this quote came from you telling not just Jason, but anybody who reads this book how to do it.
Yeah.
My brother tells me all the time, he says, you can't expect people to do something when they don't know how
Yeah.
or where to
Exactly.
start.
Yeah. That's I see that in the coaching space where somebody will ask a question and then the client will be like, well, I don't know. And then they're like, but if you did know, what would you? And I'm like, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
If they did know, they'd be doing it already, numbnut. Like, I hate the reflexive question pattern because they think they're being like wise and tricky and smart. And it's like, that's not always helpful because if they knew what they were doing, they'd be doing it.
Exactly.
Right. And so I
And
had
they
a
knew
client.
how to do it. Because sometimes it's like people know, like in the book, you tell Jason basically, and I forget, I'm trying to find it, the exact words, but it's what man do you want to be?
Yeah.
And he might know what man he wants to be, but you put the blueprint out there and
Yeah.
said, look, if this is what you want to be, these are the steps you need to take. This is
Yeah.
why.
There's 9 steps. I have a roadmap for men, and there's 9 steps. There's 3 for the boy: nurture the boy, master the man, lead like a king. And it's the past, the present, the future. Those are the 3 relationships that every man needs to master. Because if you don't internalize your own inner child and make it safe,
Mhm.
you can't give what you don't have. So if your own inner child doesn't feel safe, how are you supposed to create safety? How are you supposed to be present and be playful when you're scared to show up? You're worried about fault and blame. You're worried about guilt and shame. You're worried about self-sabotage. Then you're constantly checking yourself. You can't be present because you're so worried about, well, what am I doing and how is it being received? And you're so hypercritical. It's like, dude, all that has to
Mhm.
chill. Then we
And there
talk
was
about
one part
mastering.
in the book where you asked Jason, you said, well, who did you pretend to be today?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
love that because it's like we do put on that face,
yeah,
you know, when we go to work, when we're at our kids' school events, when we're here, when we're there. And now for me, it's always been, I always have where when I deal with a lot of people, I have to take breaks. It's exhausting. It's
yeah.
exhausting to me because, but reading this, it made me realize it's because I'm basically pretending. when I'm at these different spaces and I'm
And places.
pretending.
Yeah.
And I, it was, it's so much because there's some later in the book too where, and that's, oh yeah, I did this whole page. So towards the end of the book, and it all came together with the title because the title did kind of get me because I'm like, the silent throne, where did that come from?
Hmm.
And you wrapped it up. I'm not going to tell people because they need to read the book, but you wrapped it up closer to the end to explain what that silent throne is. And I think a lot of it with men, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that stereotype that they have to be strong.
Yeah.
They have to be, and you touch on this in the book where sometimes with kids, you know, boys, if they're crying, they get chastised instead of
Yeah.
hugged.
Yeah.
And and they're not, as my kids have grown, my boys, I realize that I don't think me and my ex did so well with, even though they always could come to us and they would always come and talk to me about things. Sometimes I would even have to tell them, like, I don't need to know. As they got older, it's like, I don't need to know everything. Just stop.
Mm.
But one of my sons, he still has a hard time expressing himself,
Yeah.
especially when it's emotionally charged.
Hmm. Hmm. It definitely is a skill. See, a lot of guys, like, they think, being strong means being silent and being able to carry the load. Sometimes being strong is being honest with your emotion in the moment. I had a conversation earlier today with someone on their podcast, and, the idea that um, being strong is like the ability to ask for help when you need it. Being strong is able to say, I'm scared. Like, oh, you can't tell your kids you're scared. Of course you can. Because, like, if you want to be brave, then you have to be scared and take action anyway. That's what bravery is. If you're not scared, it's not brave. It's Tuesday, right? Like,
Right.
you've got to be afraid and saddle up anyway because there's something greater than the fear. That's what creates bravery. And so you got to own those emotions. You're allowed to feel, comma, and dot, dot, dot. What are you going to do with it? Like, because it's the utilization that matters. The utilization creates the impact. So cool, use it. What are you going to use it for? How are you going to use it? To expand yourself and expand others? Good use. Just expand yourself, there may be blowback. Just expand others, you may end up depleted. If it's not a win-win, there may be some problems.
That is so true because even as, I guess, even with being a mother, it's hard because your kids are looking at you, especially when they're younger, for everything.
Yeah.
And they want you to have the answer and they want you to know this and they want you to know that and be able to do this and that. And it never crossed my mind when they were younger to just, like you said, be honest and say, hey, I'm scared.
Yeah.
And there's
There's no,
nothing wrong with that, seeing that human side.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, this is why, like I said, I bought 2 copies. This book was great. I am really, when I decided to do this, I was like, okay, so I'm going to have books coming that I usually, because honestly, would I have picked up a book that's clearly meant for men?
Probably not.
Probably not.
That's fine.
And I have been so pleased because every book that I've chosen and done an interview with, thus far has been absolutely great. And I know people are probably looking at, well, she's saying every book is 5 stars. Well, so far it has been because this was
There's
a
a lot of
five
really great
star
stuff.
read. Yeah,
There's a lot of really great stuff that people don't know about because, you know, book production is a business and they are looking for marketability and do you have an audience? Like if you want to get a book contract, you need to
hmm
have a social following. You need to have it doesn't matter how good your book is. It doesn't matter how sincere
I
you are.
know.
It's the business of why are we seeing so
hmm
many movies where we're seeing the same intellectual property and oh it's an animated movie now it's live action, oh it was live action now it's animated, oh we're going to do a miniseries, oh we're going to, because the money people have to make their money back and they're not going to take a shot on well we don't know if that's going to work or
Right.
not. So and so it's grassroots conversations like this that matter because there's a lot of really great stuff that
Oh,
it's not going to get picked up.
yeah, there really is. Last week I had two interviews. Because one of them I had to do earlier because Sue lives in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
So we did it on Zoom. Had all kind of technical glitches there. Uh, not actually with the Zoom, but with the recording of it.
Mm,
So her book, they use a few different terminologies, but it was absolutely great. I mean, the first interview I did, it was Christian fiction. Forgive me,
mm,
Lord. I don't usually read Christian fiction. I mean, I'm actually more of a psychological thriller, crime drama. You
yeah.
know, and it was great. It was like, okay, I've got to get some more books by this author. And you're right, it's so many of us out there. It's just the exposure, and
Right.
that's why I decided to do this. And also, I love to read, and I knew it would be a new way for me to get an introduction to new authors because a lot of the authors I read, I've been reading for over 20 years. And
Mm,
they're, a lot of them are mainstream. That's why I love Kindle Unlimited. Now, that has introduced me to a lot of new authors because
yeah.
sometimes you're like, this book sounds good, but do I want to take a chance on it? But if you know you can borrow it, yeah.
Right.
But so far, these books have been great. But this one, like I said, if I wasn't doing this, I don't think I would have picked up a book that's for men.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and
That's fair.
but I'm so glad I did because I mean I have so many highlights. You think I was in school?
That makes
Here's
me really happy.
I really wanted. This is one that really hit me. Also, a quote from Jeremy. And it says, men in pain often become meticulous scorekeepers.
Yup. Yup.
Tell me a little bit about that. I think I know, but I want to be sure.
When guys are wounded, they get locked. A lot of times they'll get locked into justification and rationalization, and they start becoming scorekeepers and tit for tat, and it all has to be perfectly even and perfectly balanced. And well, I did this for you, and so you owe me, and it's just this constant back and forth. And it's like, oh my God, I'm living with an accountant. I can't do anything. Like I knew a guy like that, right? He's one of my kung fu brothers, and I like gave him a ride because he didn't have a car, so I like gave him a ride back home. And back then, cars didn't have all the calibration for fuel efficiency and all that. So I kept a little notebook, and every time I gassed up the car, I would put the date, the distance, the how much I put in, and I'd figure out the mileage because it let me know if the engine's running well or if the engine has problems. And so I took the notebook out and I started jotting down the stuff. And he was like, "Oh, what are you doing? You keeping a tab? You keeping a list of what I owe you?" And like I knew, and this was like I was in my early 20s. I was like 20, 21. But I knew because of the way he framed that question, he lives in a wounded transactional world because everything in his life is medicated, is managed, it is meticulous, it is nothing. He can't do anything just to do something genuinely for another person. There's always a return. So it makes him so transactional you can never do anything nice for him because his immediate thought, well, what are you trying to get out of me? What are you trying to leverage over me? Which means that's how he thinks of other people also. Because when they accuse you of doing something that wasn't even on your radar, Why are they thinking about that way of relating to things? It's
And you
because
hear
they have
that
that
from a
idea.
lot of women about
Yeah,
men.
yeah,
They feel like, okay, if he takes me to dinner
yeah,
and he pays for it, he's going to be expecting something.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I can even remember when I was younger and my parents,
Mhm.
it's like, especially like a teenager, especially when my sisters were teenagers, and my mom and dad, I mean, they did it with me too, but they would have a fit if they accepted something from a boy.
Yeah,
Because it was like, now we're talking about for them, maybe early 80s or so. It's more like if you accepted this from this boy, you're going to have to pay him back some way.
right.
And that was ingrained here,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
And it becomes a limiting factor. And then so you meet someone who does something nice and you poison it because you don't realize they're doing it with no attachment.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do nice stuff for people, and I'm on threads and I'm on various social media, and I will write fairly cogent conversations with people because I'm not trying to sell you anything. I
Mm-hmm.
hear the struggle, I hear the suffering. Well, have you considered this? And there's also this, and you could get this, and like I have resources. I've done a lot of work over 31 years professionally, 45 personally. I've been in this space for a very, very, very long time. It doesn't have to be as difficult as you're making it out. I
Mm-hmm.
suspect if you and consider, and then what about, just to open the door. Like whether that comes back to me from you or not, that's not my priority. My priority is you're struggling and you're suffering, and I have something I think could help. I'll offer it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is so true. I try to raise my kids and I tell them, look, if you give anything to anybody, do it from your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it expecting anything back.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it if you don't want to, thinking you're going to get something back if you do it. If it's not in your heart, just say no.
Right.
I'd rather you not do something for somebody than feel like, well, let me do this because I might need them to do something later.
Right.
That's
Right.
just,
That's horse trading, right? That's
yeah,
manipulation and it's bribery. Like just be honest. Like here, let me just give you
yeah,
$20. Let me just give you
yeah,
20 bucks and we'll be settled. Are we settled? Cool. Good talk.
yeah.
Like
Well,
just own it.
I could keep you on here forever, but I really enjoyed this book. Thank you so much for sharing it with me.
Absolutely.
Um, like I said, because I would have seen, oh, this is for men. I would have skipped by it. Um,
Yeah. But it's anybody who wants to understand men more, any ladies who are raising or want to raise young men, it's a powerful resource.
it is.
And a young man reading it as a teenager, it will save him a lot of headache and heartache, but it's going to take a studying with his parents to do it as a team, and like, hey, I'm going to bribe you every chapter you read, I'm going to give you $10.
Yeah.
Like do it, because the return on getting these ideas into their head young, even if they don't act on it, even if they don't agree with it, they are aware of it, and so it will
Mhm.
start to filter their lives as they roll forward, and it can
Mhm.
stave off some headache and heartache, and it can open up some conversation like, hey dad, hey mom, I see this in our family. And it's like, what? And
That
let's,
overreaction. That
yeah,
was that would have been
let's
my
unpack that.
kids. That
Let's
would have been
unpack
my
that.
kids. The
Yeah.
overreaction. Yeah,
Mm.
it's there.
Am,
Um,
am I overreacting, or am I just very passionate in my reply?
yeah. Well, everybody, the name of the book is The Silent Throne. I forgot. You know, I've done Instagram lives before,
Yeah,
but before I started back a couple of weeks ago, I hadn't done them in a long time.
yeah,
And
I've never done
somebody
them.
told me they're like, pin a comment, and I forgot because I guess we have the little difficulties. But it's The
Yeah.
Silent Throne
Hmm.
by Jeremy Roadruck. Am I saying your last
Yep.
name right?
Yes, ma'am.
Um,
Only one on
it's
the internet.
great. It's on Kindle and paperback. I think for the men, women read it too. Like he said, if you have Not even if even if you have, because my sons are adults.
Yeah. I can give you an
And
angle. Let me give you an angle with them is give it to them and say, hey, I thought this was interesting. Let me know what he got wrong. And then, because their brain's going to go, oh, yeah, I'll prove him wrong. And then they start reading
yeah.
it. And then they're like, oh,
Oh,
damn.
thank you, Jeremy. That is great. That's exactly what I'll do. Because if I say, here, you know, I found this interesting, I think it will help you. It'll just probably sit.
I'm not asking for help. I don't need help. I'm good.
Yes.
But
So
what did he get
I
wrong?
will do that. Okay, so two things. Tell us what's next in the book world and tell people how they can, how they can contact you to get your services, because the Jeremy I read about, I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, does he have a script or what? He looks so relaxed.
Yeah.
In the book
Nah,
too.
I've been doing this over 3 decades in various
Yeah,
ways.
so let us
And I've
know
worked with people
what
from
is.
3 to 94. So a lot of different age groups and experiences and needs and fears and doubts and wants and yeah. So
Yeah,
easiest thing, just Google me. I am the only Jeremy Roadruck on the internet.
that
Super
is a
easy to find.
different name.
Uh, leadlikeaking.com/book-now is I'll put it in the comments on this video, but leadlikeaking.com/book now with a dash in between the book and the now. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. I actually have a King's Compass diagnostic quiz for men. It takes about 5 minutes. Leadlikeaking.com/quiz. And it goes through and it lays out the 9 areas for men that, like, you need to master if you want to be fully integrated.
Okay.
And if you've got issues, the quiz will reveal it. And even just taking the quiz, it gives language because you rate yourself in 9 areas, 0 to 10, and each label has like a description and a definition. And you're like, dude, I'm right here, right? And it's no judgment. It's just a tool for analysis, and you get a 30-minute debrief for free just to like unpack what does it suggest and see what you think. Because like I'm always building it stronger and better. Um, a book I did previously is called Your Best Child Ever Is This Game Worth Winning, which is the only parenting book in the world with a money back guarantee right there. And what's next is actually Lead Like a King, the proven roadmap to mastering marriage, deeper relationships, and unstoppable leadership. And this goes through the case studies, the roadmap, all 9 steps,
Hmm.
4 case studies per roadmap, and there's a bonus 15 online, so a total of 51. So you've got almost a year's worth of stuff to reflect on once a week. And the case study goes from we have a presenting problem. What was the conversation that we had? What were the yeah? What was the conversation that we had? What was the impact that it made? 3 action steps that you can take today, and then an
Hmm.
invitation to go deeper. And then there's a companion course that goes with this. It's the self mastery course, and it's nine modules. You can do it in 9 hours. You can do it in 9 days, 9 weeks, 9 months, like however long you want. And it's designed. No one has to know you did the course. All online. You don't have to tell anybody. It's all
Okay.
digitally delivered. So a lot of guys don't want people to know they're doing stuff. Cool, I got you. Like no one has to know. It'll be our secret. And I actually have, when I do one-on-one work, I have an NDA available too. It's a mutual NDA, so I won't reveal who I work with. I do use some of the transformations and case studies, but I take off identifying information. I don't, I'm not going to be like, oh, I work with this celebrity you might know from.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Well,
I
that
do a
is
lot of stuff behind
great.
the scenes.
So the one you just shown, which is right here in the back, and also the website is that, a lot of times I had to go to the back because a lot of times once you finish reading, with Amazon, especially on Kindle, it just pops up, for you to do a review.
Gotcha.
Um, his website's in the back of this book, and Lead Like a King. It's available now.
Yeah, this is available as a digital version. I don't have the book actually released yet, but the PDF is available. And so if you
Hmm.
sign up there, you'll get a copy digitally, and then once I publish, I will print it out and I will sign it and send it to you as a thank you for buying the pre-order.
Okay. And this book that we talked about tonight is The
The
Silent
Silent
Throne.
Throne. Hmm.
And I recommend it. I'm not a man. I have 4 sons. 2 of them right now are getting them because mama feels like 2 of them need it more than the other ones.
Right.
But they'll
You
pass it
you want to
around.
hear back from 2 of them on what he got wrong.
Exactly. And I would suggest getting it in paperback because
Mhm.
there are questions at the end where you can answer. And I mean, it's a great book. Thank you so much for sharing this with me. Thank you. It's like God led my steps so far with every book I've read because, the first one, like I said, was Christian fiction. It was really good. Then I had Sue on. Hers was crime drama, and that's my favorite genre, and it was really good. I already bought her book too, and it's been great. It's been some great books, but this one really hit. I think I put more highlights in this one than any book I've ever read on Kindle.
That makes me really, really happy,
Yeah,
honestly, because I wrote this to. There are men killing themselves because of their BS, because their belief system says they deserve it or they don't deserve to
yeah,
live.
yeah,
And so to have someone go through and find value and highlight, like, that's why I wrote it. I actually have an Audible version out on YouTube for free
yeah.
because,
You put that in the notes. I'm
yeah,
not good with Audible. My mind
I,
starts wandering. I
I
don't know
just
why.
want it out there, right? I
Yeah.
don't care about making money off of it. I want it out. That's why the Kindle's like 99 cents or something. It's like super cheap
Mm-hmm.
because I want to get the information out because
And you
men,
know what? That's another good thing. I could actually tell them because I think they like to read, but one of my sons, he's more visual.
mhm.
And I will give him that YouTube link
Yeah, it's just words on a screen.
and
So
just
like they
ask
can,
him, hey, I read this book, but here it is. And tell me, what did he get wrong?
mhm.
So you can straighten them out.
That's right.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Jeremy. I'm gonna keep, like I said, I'm gonna pass it on because you're right. I'm glad to see more men here lately. What I see on social media, they
Yeah.
seem to be more involved in their mental health because that has been needed for a very long time. And I always take my hat off to men who know there's a need, you know, and I take 2 hats off to you who are willing to help. But, because like you said, not only being able to say, hey, I'm scared or whatever, the strength comes from knowing mentally I'm drowning. I need some help.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
just
love
intelligent.
seeing it. I love seeing more men talk about mental health and wanting to get groups together. I just love that because it is so needed. But I didn't know that stat about divorced men. I really didn't.
Yeah, it's horrible. And
Um,
it's not to say divorced women, divorced moms, it's bad also. Like it's not this is not a pissing contest of who has it worse. It sucks for both, and neither of them need to happen.
yeah.
Is like let's get the tools, let's get the resources, let's get the conversations going, let's get people assets. Right.
Yeah.
I when I had my kung fu school, I volunteered at a domestic abuse shelter for a while, but I couldn't tell anybody I was doing it. I couldn't mention it. I couldn't promote it. I couldn't say anything because the fear is if one of the ex-partners finds out I'm doing it and they stalk me to get access to their ex-wife or kid.
Mm-hmm. Makes
And
sense.
just that it's such a dark experience. And it hurts my heart. And it's like I can't like we got to educate the guys to not be so scared and afraid. Like you said, the terror of being rejected. Like these guys think they have a right when they're rejected to kill their wife and kids because like, oh, you reject me, I'm going to kill you. It's like,
You
dude,
know,
you,
I was
you, you don't
just
have a.
about to say that. I was about to say what everything you said in the beginning of this live broadcast had me thinking like, so that's why you hear about so many crimes. And usually you hear either they, the divorce was just final, or the divorce was about to be final, or
Or
they
hey, he
were
just
living
got served.
together, the woman was getting ready to leave. And
Yeah.
everything you said in the beginning made me think like, oh, that's
Their identity is so enmeshed in their family unit that to lose the family unit is to lose themselves, and they would rather kill everyone involved.
isn't that sad?
It's terrifying and it's depressing and it's preventable, but it's earlier in the stream, right? Um, I do a whole thing when I had my school. We talked about bully proof versus anti-bullying. The problem with anti-bullying is everything hinges on the bully taking action. When we train people to become bully proof, the bully just doesn't exist. I don't even care. Like, you can't hurt my feelings without my permission. If you touch me, that's battery, and I'm going to batter you back. If you threaten me I fear for my safety, that's assault. Those are both legally defensible terms. We can press charges.
Right.
Bullying is about social dominance and playing for points to an audience, right? Bullying is about scoring points socially and pushing people down to make yourself feel better. Well, if I just don't care, one of my 9-year olds, some girl said to her, "My mom thinks you're weird," and then she was like, "That's fine. I take it as a compliment."
Yeah.
And then the girl was like, "Well, I don't think that's how she means it." And then my student was like, "That's okay too."
That's not funny, but it's just what? Leave it
Yeah, well, I
alone.
mean, this 9-year-old girl is trying to insult my student, and my student's just like, "I don't really care. Like, I don't need your mom's approval. I don't need your approval. Have a nice day." I just refused to receive the negative energy because if you just act confused to the bully and they're trying to insult you and go, "I don't get it. Why is that? Who writes your material? Because that's not funny. Like, say it again. Maybe I'll get it the second time." And if you just stay confident and refuse to be insulted, that stuff stops.
Yeah.
And if they escalate, cool, then we're going to press charges, right?
Exactly.
But we got to train this into kids at a young age. Nobody has the right to touch without your permission. If anybody helps you to feel small, sad, and cold inside, you don't have to play that game. You don't have to be their friend. It's okay. And so,
It's
like, these are
really
the
okay.
skills. These are the
Yeah.
conversations. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I had a conversation over the weekend with my niece, and I was telling her, I said, one thing I learned as I got older that I wish I knew when I was younger was the power of okay and silence.
Mhm.
I said, when somebody tries to, just like you said, the bully or tries to insult you or they get mad at you and they're, spewing just all these negative things about you, I said, just say, okay, or
Hey,
nothing at all.
thanks for sharing. Anyway,
Yeah. 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 It's like,
when I had
okay. I
four, when
said,
I had
because you
four-year-olds
know
in my,
what? I said, people don't know how to respond to that.
yeah, yeah. Another way, one of the things we taught is we had the thanks for sharing was a great way to just say, okay, whatever. I
Mhm.
use that a lot with like the 4-year-olds because it was like they had some random thing they want to point out. Hey, thanks for sharing. So anyway, and then
Yeah.
the other one is you sit there and you mess with people. You're like, I love that. That's my
Yeah.
favorite part. And you sit there and bounce between, I love that, and that's my favorite part. No, you don't understand. No, I love that. No, I don't think you get it. No, that's my favorite part.
Mhm.
And you just sit there and keep repeating those two phrases, and you break their brain because they don't know what to do with you. They're like,
Yeah.
what?
Because
Yeah.
somebody told me once, I forgot what I was saying. They were saying something to me. They were trying to really have an argument. And I was just like, okay. And I was like, well, okay. If that's the way you feel, your feelings are valid. Oh, you're just trying to end the conversation. They told me, they were like, oh, I see what you're doing. You're trying to end the conversation. I'm telling you, your feelings are valid, but yeah, I am trying to end the conversation because I'm not about to argue with you.
Yeah,
You
there's no
know,
point. There's no
I,
point.
I, I, I your feelings are valid, mine are too.
Exactly.
So You told me how you felt. I told you how I felt. What more is there to say?
Yep. Have a nice day. See
Yeah.
ya.
And you know, in the South, we have that bless your heart.
Yeah. Bless your heart. There you go.
Yeah. And, you know, people have caught on because of social media that it's not
Yeah.
really we're not really giving you a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 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 honey. You just have the day you deserve. It's great. See ya.
Exactly. That is the translation for bless your heart. Because if you
Yep.
tell somebody something and they just say, bless your heart, just
Yep.
just leave.
Just walk away. You already
Yeah.
lost. Just walk away.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I
Yeah.
enjoyed
It's been a
it.
pleasure.
This was a great interview. I don't want to give too much away because I want all of the men, I want y'all to go out, read The Silent Throne, and tell me where Jeremy went wrong.
Thank you.
How'd I do?
That's the question.
Okay. Well, you have a great night.
I will. You do the same.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye
Bye. Now I got to figure out how to end
bye.
it.